Lesson 44, finding slope using the slope formula. First off, what is the slope formula? The slope formula is y2 minus y1, or your second y coordinate minus your first y coordinate, divided by your second x coordinates minus your first x coordinates. So you're doing this from finding the slope between 2 points. The m, remember, just stands for your slope. So we need to find the slope of the following points. Remember, this is your x1, y1, x2, y2. So keep it that way. If you do end up switching them, as long as you switch them for both pairs, it should still work out. So if we use the formula y2 minus y1, so we got 6 minus 4 divided by x2, 6 minus x1, 2. 6 minus 4 is 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. Simplified, that would be half. So our slope would be half. Next one, we have a negative 2 minus 4. And my x's, I have 4 minus a negative 4. This will give us a negative 6 in the numerator and a positive 8 in the denominator. I can reduce that by dividing by 2 halves. This would give us a negative 3 over 4. And that would be our slope. Next one, we got 0, negative 5, and 5, 10. So it would be 10 minus a negative 5 divided by 5 minus 0. So this is really adding. So we got 15 over 5, which gives us a slope of positive 3. And the last one here, we got negative 13 minus 5 divided by 3 minus a negative 6. And all I'm doing is just taking the second one of the second order pair, subtracting from the second number of the first pair, and then doing the same thing with the first terms in each. So a negative 13 minus 5 is a negative 18. 3 minus a negative 6 is 3 plus 6, which is 9. Simplify it, that gives me a negative 2. Now what about if we have a table? We can still do the same thing. We still have ordered pairs. So this one here is our ordered pairs. But when it comes to a table, we just need to pick 2 points. And I'm just going to pick these first 2 points. This is your x1, y1. This is your x2, y2. So let's do our y's. So it'd be 0 minus 6, and then 10 minus a negative 5 to find my slope. So I have a negative 6 in the numerator and a positive 15 in my denominator. So I can reduce that. So negative 6 over 15 divided by 3/3 would give us a negative 2/5. So our slope would be a negative 2/5. The other one, doesn't matter which 2 points we choose. This time I'm just going to use the bottom 2. So it would be 1 minus a negative 13 divided by 0 minus a negative 2. This would give us 14 in the numerator, positive 2 in the denominator. We would have a slope of 7. So it doesn't matter which 2 points you use, as long as you are using the formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Next, looking at from a graph. Here, you can use the slope formula because they give you your points, or you can find the slope using the graph itself. I'm going to show using the graph itself. So this is really the rise over your run. So the change in your y divided by the change in your run. So if I'm going from this point here down to this one, we can determine how many we are going down. So changing my y, I'm at 5. I go down 5, I'm at 0, and I got to go down 2 more. So now I went down 7. So my rise is 7, or going down 7. And then I'm going across. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we got to go 2 more, that's 9. 2 more is 11. So we went across 11, so we would have a slope of negative 7/11. And we know it's negative because our line is going downward. But let's just double check to see if we get the same one if we use the slope formula. So these are your x1, y1, these are your x2, y2. So I'm going to take my negative 2 minus a negative 5, or minus positive 5, divided by 4 minus a negative 7. Negative 2 minus 5 gives you a negative 7. 4 minus 7 gives you a positive 11. There's your negative 7/11. This next one, since I have a positive slope here, Mr. Slope Guy tells you that it's going to be positive slope, so my answer has to be positive. So here we're going to find our rise. So here we're at 7. We're at 7. This one, they actually have the wrong number in here. The x is negative 6, but this shouldn't be negative 5. This should actually be a negative 7, because this would be negative 6 here. In between negative 6 and negative 8 has to be negative 7. So let's use the slope formula. So we'll do 4 minus a negative 7 divided by 5, and I'm choosing 5 because I chose the first point for my numerator in that or pair, and then I'm subtracting a negative 6. And when I do that, I'm really just adding. So this is 4 plus 7 is 11. 5 plus 6 is 11. So I would have a slope of positive 1. Next one. Here we have horizontal and vertical lines. We had a lesson earlier. If the denominator is 0, remember, you have a slope of that's undefined. So here we use the slope formula. We would do our y2, so 4 minus our y1, 4. Take my x2, 6, minus my x1, negative 6. It's really 6 plus 6. So this gives me an answer of 0 over 12. Anytime you have 0 divided by a number, the slope is always 0. And then with the vertical line, I take my negative 5 minus my 1, my numerator, 7 minus 7 gives us negative 6 over 0, cannot divide by 0, so slope is undefined. So anytime you have a vertical line, undefined, horizontal line is 0. And let's take a look at some application. Well, let's use the second hand of a clock to record the time it took a train to travel the distance from her house to a friend's house. The second hand of the clock was 12 seconds when she began timing, and at 38 seconds when the train had traveled this 1/4 mile distance to her friend's house, what was the speed of the train in feet per second? So we need to do the change in distance divided by the change in time. So first off, we need our coordinates. So when she left her house, our x terms are going to be the time. So when she left the house, it was 12 seconds. But she didn't go anywhere. So the distance is just 0. The other point, the time was 38 seconds. And she traveled 1/4 of a mile. 1/4 is 1/4 of a mile. And it says it has to be in the speed of the train in feet. So what's 1/4 of a mile? There's 5,280 feet in 1 mile, so 1/4 of 5,280 would be 1,320. So now we have our points here. We can put it into our slope formula. So our change in our distance, so 1,320 minus 0, divided the change in time, 38 minus 12. So it give us 1,320 divided by 26. That would give us an answer about 50.77, or if you round it to the nearest tenth, it would be 50.8. And we were looking at what was the speed, so 50.8 feet per second would be our answer. And the last one here. Michael timed a train using a clock. The train traveled a distance of 1/2 mile from T, which equals 10 seconds, to T equals 55 seconds. What was the speed of the train in feet per second? Round to the nearest tenth. So here we need our 2 points. Again, it's your X term is your time. So they're starting at 10 seconds and we're going to 55 seconds. So those are our X terms. And if the starting point, your distance is 0, your ending point, 1/2 mile, but it has to be in feet, 1/2 of 5,280 is 2,640. And then we use our formula, y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So we have 2640 divided by 45. That would give us an answer. So this says to the nearest tenth, which would be about 58.7 feet per second. That is our lesson on finding slope.